Hi friend, this evening I have a few minutes that I'm going to sit down and plan out our homeschool week. Now I'm doing this because I just did a video where I talked about how to make homeschooling easier for yourself. And while I was doing the research for that video, I was reminded of the importance of planning and how it can make a huge difference in how easy or difficult something is for you. And so I put an appointment on my calendar to do some planning this evening, and I'm going to take some time here to do that. So let's get planning. So the planner I'm using today is the Well Ordered Homeschool Planner, and if you would like to see more about this planner, I have an entire video where I talk all about the planner that I'm using for this year, and I will put a link in the description box below if you are interested in looking through this planner a little bit more. But this is the planner that I have used this homeschool year, and it's worked really well for our homeschool. So here is our week, this coming week. It's a beautiful blank slate. So when I start, I kind of just look at the week, and I start by looking at the deviations from the norm, or just the normal things that we're going to be doing this week, and mark those down. So right off, I know that Friday we would normally be going to co-op, and yet this week is a fall break for this Friday. So instead of co-op on Friday morning, I'm planning to do some sort of field trip or fun learning activity with the family. So next, I'm just going to fill out our subjects and kind of look at where we are and where we're going for this coming week. So a lot of times I'll go grab the girls' school notebook just to look through where we are, where we finished last week. So Emma did explode the code. She ended in page 51 of last week, and we're gonna do page 52, 53, and 54 for Monday, and that gives me a starting point. So for our Bible this week, I would like to read through 1 Timothy with the kids, and so I'm going to go look up how many chapters that is and do that together. And then our devotions we do with Daniel every morning with my husband, and for Torchlighters, I want to finish Jim Elliott this week. And maybe that can be part of what we do for fun on Friday, is to watch the animation from Torchlighters of his life. So that might be a fun thing to plan for on Friday. I'm gonna jot that down. Okay, so I had to turn on the light because it was getting too dark, but I went ahead and looked up the verse that we're memorizing for this week. And then I looked at the chapters of 1 Timothy. There are 6 chapters. So I think we'll just start with, we'll just do each chapter for each of the 6 days. We'll do Saturday too. Okay, so let's see if we can get through that book this week. So, something I keep in mind while I'm planning my homeschool is obviously something that is family specific for us, but my husband is off right now for the next few weeks on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So as I'm planning our homeschool, I keep that in mind as I'm planning how much work we're doing and what we're doing this coming Tuesday, Wednesday. We're not really planning to use it as a weekend. I don't think we've got any plans for those 2 days. Sometimes we do, and so I have to adjust what our homeschool will look like for those 2 days, but this week I think we're just doing a lot of work on the house and getting stuff done here. So I am just keeping in mind that my husband's gonna be around, and we might not do all of the subjects those 2 days, especially because we have another day on Friday that we don't have co-op, and so we could do schooling that morning and do something fun in the afternoon. So just think about your own family situation as you're planning and what that looks like. It might not look like everybody else's homeschool. And isn't that the beauty of homeschooling, that we can be flexible with schedules and our lives? So that is definitely something that I'm taking into consideration here as I plan. Okay, so this is a total side note. I already apologized for my OCD-ness, but I can't stand that the Friday goes over into the next day. And so I'm just going to cut a sticky note. I want a longer sticky note so that I can like fill in more things, but I don't, so I don't want to get a smaller one, but I can't stand that it is bleeding over to the next day. So that looks much better to me, and I'm going to jazz up our Friday with different color. So also in writing, my second daughter, I was going to help her do birthday thank you notes this week, and so I'm going to add that to her writing for this week. Okay, so I mentioned that Tuesday and Wednesday are our weekend and that my husband is off those days. However, as I was thinking more about what our week looks like, I am planning that we go ahead and do full days of school. Okay, so also I am looking at this week and I'm realizing there are some things that I want to do before we start school tomorrow on Monday. And so I'm going to make a list of the things, but I don't have to do them tonight. If we're going to start school first thing in the morning, then I would do these things tonight. However, we don't do school until the afternoons, and so I'll have time in the morning that I can make the copies that I need to make and do anything else that needs to be done to prep for school for the day. And so I'm probably just going to wait until tomorrow morning to do that, but I'm going to go ahead and make a list of things that I want to get done before the school day starts tomorrow. Okay, so I'm glad I made this list because it kind of reminds me that we have a big science experiment tomorrow, and I think that it would be really fun to do it with my husband. And so I might try to rearrange our schedule in the morning to get our science experiment done first thing after breakfast. And so I maybe would gather all of the supplies and have them do that right after breakfast. So I might go ahead and plan to do this prep work tonight so that we have it ready. We do this experiment first thing in the morning. So this is the plan, friends, and I have a couple of things I wanted to mention. One is that I usually don't do the initial planning in pen. I would do it in pencil. And that way I don't have to like mark out. I can just erase and rewrite the rest of the weeks. But I was afraid that you wouldn't be able to see pencil today, and so I went ahead and just wrote everything in pen. Another thing is that now that I'm done with my plan, I can either give this book to my oldest daughter and let her fill in her planner, but I actually already have filled in her planner for this week. And then maybe take a few minutes tomorrow to go over with her and just look at what our expectations are for this week, and if she has any questions or if she needs help with something, just to kind of take some time to talk with her about that. And then I also am going to take some time to fill in my second daughter's day tomorrow, and I'll just fill in the things that her math lesson, explode the code and writing and things like that. I need to go look up her writing stuff, and then just put that in her book so that it's ready for her. So that will be how I wrap up this planning session, is just filling in her page for tomorrow, and then we'll be done. So something that I also wanted to note is that I do flip back to see how I formatted things in the past. So I liked the way that I broke this into things that she did on her own, things that she did with me, and then things like that. And so I'm going to go ahead and I flip back, just kind of look at how I format things and use that formatting for the day. And I'm not reinventing the wheel here every time. If I don't like the way that things were formatted, like a couple days ago, I didn't like the way that it ended up, and so I totally did something different the next day. Okay, friends, so this is our final week all planned out and ready to get started first thing tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming along today as I plan out our homeschool week. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you again in my next video.